The Lazy Girl Story Kids English Stories Tia and Tofu Bedtime Stories for Kids. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village surrounded by wide green fields and sparkling streams, there lived a girl named Clara. Clara was known all around the village, not for her beauty, not for her kindness, not even for her cleverness, but for something rather unusual. Everyone called her the lazy girl. Clara wasn't lazy because she couldn't work. She was strong enough, healthy enough, and clever enough to do almost anything she wanted. But the truth was, Clara simply didn't like to move much. She loved lying under the shade of the big oak tree near her house, daydreaming for hours, watching the clouds drift by. While the other children helped their families, running errands, or tending to gardens, Clara would sit with her chin in her hands, waiting for someone else to do the hard part. Her mother often said, "Clara, darling, the world doesn't stop just because you wish to rest. Work is what makes a person useful. Someday you will see that." But Clara would laugh softly and reply, "Why work when life is already so comfortable, mother? The birds sing, the sun shines, and I'm happy just as I am." The villagers, though fond of her cheerful face, began to grow frustrated. Whenever there was a festival, Clara came to enjoy it, but she never helped with preparations. When someone needed a hand in the field, Clara always found an excuse. People whispered, "That's the lazy girl. She'll never learn." But life has a way of teaching lessons in the most unexpected ways. One summer morning, the village awoke to troubling news. A great storm had passed through the neighboring valley, destroying crops and leaving families without food. The headman of Clara's village called everyone to the square. "My friends," he announced, "the families in the valley are suffering. We must gather what we can, grain, fruits, blankets, anything, to help them." The villagers agreed eagerly, and soon everyone was busy. Mothers sewed warm quilts, fathers carried sacks of grain, children plucked fruits from trees. The air was filled with a spirit of giving. Everyone, that is, except Clara. She sat by her oak tree, humming a tune, plucking daisies, and watching others hurry past. "It's sad about the valley," she thought, "but surely the others will do enough. Why should I tire myself?" But as she sat there, her little brother Leo ran up to her, his arms full of apples. He stopped to catch his breath and said, "Clara, why aren't you helping? Don't you care about the valley children? They might not even have dinner tonight." Clara shrugged. "Others are helping. It will be fine." Leo shook his head, disappointment flashing in his young eyes. "Sometimes, Clara, you think only about yourself. One day, you'll see what it feels like when no one helps you." His words stung. Clara watched him run off, and for the first time, her heart felt heavy. Still, she stayed where she was. The next day, the villagers loaded their carts and set off toward the valley. Clara, curious, followed behind, not with anything to give, but simply to see what was happening. When they reached the valley, Clara's eyes widened. Homes were broken, roofs torn apart, trees uprooted. Families sat in the open, huddled together, trying to stay warm. Little children cried for food, and tired mothers tried to comfort them with empty hands. The villagers quickly began distributing what they had brought. Clara watched as hungry faces lit up with joy at the sight of bread and fruits. She saw children hugging quilts, smiling through their tears. Everywhere around her, there was gratitude and hope. Clara's heart thudded in her chest. For the first time, she felt something stirring deep inside her. She had nothing in her hands, nothing to give. She stood there like a shadow, while her friends and neighbors shone with kindness. And she realized she had chosen to do nothing, and in doing so, she had chosen to be invisible. She turned to leave quietly, ashamed. But then, she heard a faint cry. Behind a broken fence sat a little girl, no more than 6 years old. Her clothes were torn, and she hugged a small rag doll tightly. Tears streamed down her dusty cheeks. Clara hesitated, then knelt beside her. "Why are you sitting here alone?" Clara asked softly. The little girl sniffled. "Mama is sick, and I lost my shoes in the storm. Everyone forgot about us." Clara looked around. Indeed, the girl's mother lay nearby, pale and weak, shivering under the hot sun without shade. No one had noticed them in the rush of giving. For the first time, Clara didn't wait for someone else to step in. She took a deep breath and gently lifted the child in her arms. "Come with me," Clara whispered. She found a cart where blankets were being unloaded, and she begged the villagers for one. When they gave it, she wrapped the sick mother and child carefully, tucking the edges as if they were her own family. But the little girl still cried, looking at her bare feet. Clara glanced down at her own sandals, her only pair. Slowly, she slipped them off and put them on the girl's tiny feet. "They're yours now," she said. The girl's eyes widened. She gave a small, trembling smile, and whispered, "Thank you." In that moment, Clara felt something warm bloom inside her chest, brighter than the sun above. It was not the comfort of resting, not the joy of daydreaming, but something far deeper, the joy of giving. That night, when the villagers gathered around the fire, Clara sat among them barefoot, her hair messy, her dress dusty. But she was smiling in a way no one had ever seen before. People noticed. They whispered again, but not with annoyance. One woman said, "Look, the lazy girl is different today." Another added, "She's not lazy anymore. She gave away her sandals. She helped where no one else did." Clara felt her cheeks flush, but she didn't mind. For the first time, she wasn't worried about what people thought. She was proud, not of herself, but of the feeling she had discovered. From that day on, Clara changed. She still loved her oak tree, still loved watching the clouds, but she no longer sat there all day while others worked. She helped her mother with chores, she joined the children in gathering fruits, she even started caring for the old woman who lived alone at the end of the lane. And whenever someone needed kindness, Clara was the first to step forward. She had learned that giving did not take away her comfort, it multiplied it. One evening, weeks later, Clara sat under her oak tree again. Her little brother Leo came and sat beside her. "You look different now," he said. Clara smiled. "Maybe I feel different." Leo tilted his head. "Why?" She looked up at the drifting clouds and whispered, "Because I've learned that resting is sweet, but helping someone is sweeter." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, Clara no longer seemed like the lazy girl of the village. She seemed like something else entirely, a girl with a heart that had finally awakened.